Welcome, everybody, to Service Drive Revolution, the home for anybody with a service drive, with a shop, anybody that loves the smell of a shop in the morning, anybody who loves coffee that's been sitting on the thing too long and kind of turned into mud.
Nasty smell.
Yeah, anybody that gets into the shop early and makes coffee, this show is for you. I'm Chris Collins. This is Christian.
Hello, everyone.
Today, we're going to share with you how you cannot be average, how you can perform at a higher level and get out of the rut of being average. We also are going to talk about the news and our favorite Super Bowl commercials, which will be some surprises in there and some fun. And also in the news, Tesla has a huge recall.
Monster recall.
So that and much more coming up right now on Service Drive Revolution. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did.
Oh, man. I did. I watched like the last half. I was in a meeting, the first part, but I watched the last half. But I did see the Super Bowl commercials. Today, as we're filming this, so believe it or not, everybody, we film this early and then it goes up. So we're filming this the day of the parade in Los Angeles because we're in Los Angeles. Now, there's nothing worse than a Seahawks fan that has to endure the Rams winning the Super Bowl at home and all the nonsense. Now everybody's a Rams fan. Everybody's a Rams fan now. It's convenient.
He got mad at me yesterday because I was using Cooper Cup analogies, and like every time was like me putting a knife into him. It was great.
That guy is like Gumby.
He's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard not to root for him.
But I hate him because he's not on the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think if number 10 goes blue and green, you're in good shape. Speaking of green, what are you drinking there?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Once again, so most people are listening to this, not watching it, but I make this little concoction every morning. So this is a 1 quart Essentia.
Yeah, it's a big
pour
bottle.
A little bit out, and then I put a bunch of stuff in here. By the way, who in the office has not caught COVID?
You.
Me. This and the flush that I do.
The flush is good.
Yeah, I think has protected me. I think. I mean, now I get it tomorrow, and all my talking is, nonsense. So who knows if any of this is working? But in this, I have the IV, the little packet, the IV.
Oh, the ones that we used to get?
No, not the ones in our arm. It's a like an additive that is called IV.
Okay.
But it keeps me from getting cramps when I lift heavy. There's a scoop of the greens in there. I have the certain kind of mushroom stuff in there that really is good, like works really well. I have the Jocko pre-workout.
Okay, nice.
A scoop of that. And then I have zinc. So I buy the liquid vitamins. So I have liquid zinc. I have liquid vitamin D. I have the, I forget the red stuff that keeps you from inflammation. It's like, I forget what it's called. And vitamin C in here. So I don't know. There's like 10 things in here. It takes me a minute to make it in the morning, but I drink it throughout the day and it's good. So it's my vitamins. I think that drinking vitamins throughout the day is better than just popping a bunch of pills.
Yeah, because I don't think your body can use them all when you take them in pill form. Because I would assume it runs most of it through.
And I still do take pills, but yeah, it's good.
As much as I want to pick up, because it looks like pea soup, obviously, but
looks like what?
Pea soup. Like it's not the prettiest looking drink.
Because it's green.
Yeah, but
split pea soup.
Yeah, with no extra
not
stuff
urine
in it.
soup. Split pea soup, right?
Because that's better. But your logic works.
Yeah, no, I like
often.
it. So let's start off, let's talk about average.
Yeah, great conversation.
What made me think of this is I bought this book that's an old book from the early 1900s about average in business. And it just kind of is making the case that just about everybody is average even if you're unique in one specific area of your life, like let's say you're really good at math, or let's say you're really good at playing pool, or, you're really funny. Like you're really funny. When you add that into everything else, like, work ethic, finances, whatever else, at the end of the day, that one thing of you being funny doesn't make you above average.
Okay, that's fair.
So most people going through life are average, and here's the sad part: 50% of people are below average.
How the heck does that work?
Just think about that for a second. 50% of the people listening to the big show right now are below average. 50% of the advisors out there are below average. 50% of the techs out there are below average. 50% of the service managers out there are below average. And just think like we think like if you said, Christian, you're average, would you see that as a compliment, or would you see that as a neg? Like
I'm insulted. I'm insulted to the core.
And you'd be 50% better than 50% of the people.
Right. Maybe I need to. No, I can't.
So what if you're 51%? Like,
I still think that's so crapper. Why
but
can't
you're
I?
better than half the people.
Yeah, it's not good enough.
But it's a funny thing, right? Like when you think about that, half the people are below average. Because when you think average, and then just think like 20% of the people are just a little bit above average.
Right.
Like they're average on a bad day. Like you're not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're basically average.
Yeah, and you're really a culmination of all the different things about you, right? Like you're funny, but then I'm not this or whatever. I went to the doctor last week, and he diagnosed me as being colorblind, and that really caught me out of the purple.
I don't get it. What is purple?
Caught out of the blue instead of.
Oh, yeah.
It's so much better when I have to explain it.
I don't get it, but that's funny. I don't know. What's funny about that is the way you segue. I love that when you're like, yeah, because you make me feel in the moment like you're like.
I'm participating in the conversation.
Well, not only that, but you're like almost agreeing with me. Like you're making me feel like what I'm saying is really good and smart. But the whole time it's just a delay. It's a deflection to your incredible segues.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Your segues are not average. Your segues are 100% better than most people, for sure. They're incredible. And this happened the other day. We were doing something, and you started saying something kind of like that, where you were like, well, do you know what happens when you re-roof a building? Like you said something like that, and I was like, holy cow, he's going into a joke right now? But you weren't.
I was serious.
You were dead serious. And I was like so disappointed.
Right. The hardest thing is getting taken seriously.
We were on a Zoom or something. I forget. But I was like, oh my God, he's sick. Like, that's hilarious. This is the wrong place to do this, but okay. And no, you were serious. But your segue felt like one of your, like, I was at the doctor, like out of nowhere, right? So funny. Yeah, so think about that for a second. 50% of people are below average.
Oh.
50% of the people listening to this, right?
Sobering is what that is.
Yeah, it is. And people are comfortable with that. Like it always is a interesting insight into human behavior and psychology when you're talking to somebody, and like I do a lot of strategy sessions, and you're talking to a dealer or a service manager, and they don't aspire to be the best in their town, let alone their market. Like no joke, I've been offered, especially when I was younger, I was offered like, equity in a dealership to go run it and a ton of money. And do you know why I passed on every one?
No.
because there was no path that I could see to make them number one in the country. And if I was going to go run,
You want to be the best.
I think we should try to buy a Land Rover dealership in Los Angeles. One of these around here, because we could make it number one in the world. And we could run the service department 24 hours a day.
And always have work, even at 24 hours a day.
We would still be booked out a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we could lead with service. Because inventory's harder to get. From running a top selling dealership, I know how to get inventory too. I know ways to play that game. But I would only consider that if I saw a path to be number one. Now, maybe we land at number two, but I would never go into a situation understanding that I was just going to show up every day to do the same thing, and there was no chance of shooting for something, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
That's funny. It's one of the best pieces of advice you ever gave me. You told me this like 6 years ago or 7 years ago. You said, never play a game you can't win.
My mom used to say when I was a kid, she would say, and she was saying this in a way like I should change my behavior. Because she would say, sometimes like when kids want to play a game you don't know how to play, you won't play. Right?
Right.
So if there was some sort of sport that I didn't know how to play, or there was a board game, or they wanted to play chess, and at the time I didn't know how, I learned how to play chess later, I wouldn't play because I would watch, but I wasn't going to play something that I didn't have some sort of an advantage or some sort of possibility of, competing. I wasn't going to put myself in that situation. So now you could say like, that's not healthy because you're not giving yourself new experiences, and maybe there's something to that. But back to my original point, what always blows me away is that people go through life and they have no concept of the idea that there's so much more, and all they have to do is put energy into it. Like all you have to do is, it's almost like just turning your vision towards that idea that you could have the best customer experience. Like it's funny to me that a lot of people pride themselves on, we love our customers, we take care of our customers, which is code for we're terrible, we have bad systems, and we don't know what we're doing, really, is what it is most of the time. Because you're not saying we want to have, because here's one thing that we understand about performance is if you wanted to be number one in the country at something, if you wanted to have the best customer experience, anyone who has gone after that as an endeavor understands that that's a journey, not a destination. It changes the way you ask questions. It changes the way you talk about things, but you don't talk about things in absolutes. So you're not going to say we have the best customer experience. When I talk to a dealer or a manager that's performing at a very high level, they will say something to this effect. They will say, boy, we really care about the customer experience and we're always trying to make it better. And then they'll ask me a question on what I've seen out there and what other people are doing.
Yeah, the slight edge, right?
But when somebody says something that's a close-ended, statement, like we care about our customers, it's more like, hey, let's just get that out of the way. But really, you want to feel that, but you don't really care about the customers. So chances are, if you're watching this, you're average or below average. And I'm going to give you a couple key things that can change your trajectory and help you perform at a high level. Just these, it's really two things that you would change. But first, we're going to do the news, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about that.
Automated vehicle inspection systems are a drive-through AI that essentially records the condition of a vehicle without the use of a technician or a service advisor, essentially giving a report to the customer about the condition of the vehicle, everything from brakes, tires, fluid leaks, suspension issues, safety issues, all without the use of any kind of human. So they're saying that that's better than the traditional method of doing a multi-point inspection and service advisor. So can't wait to hear what you think about that.
We'll have to see. Like, I don't. How do you measure brakes or check the condition of coolant or whatever? Like, how are you doing
the color of brake fluid? I guess.
How are you doing that through AI? Like, you can't even see the. Like, a lot of cars now will tell you through the brake sensor, so maybe they're doing it that way, and they're not actually looking at the brakes. They're tapping into the
OBD2 or something like that. I don't know. I'm kind of on board with this idea because I'm pretty worn out on people saying, how much am I going to get paid to check over that car? And I can't get my people to do inspections. That'll do it.
I don't think it'll make sales go down because we're giving energy to the inspection and the process. So
yeah, here's a whole company founded on the fact that looking over cars is important. Good job, UVI. All right, here's my favorite piece of news. There's been a recall, Chris. Tesla. My beloved Tesla.
Have you taken yours in?
No, I've never serviced that car.
But you have a recall.
Yeah, I'll get it done.
Don't you eventually have to take it in?
Eventually. Well, this might not apply to my car, but Tesla vehicles are being recalled over the fart noise. So.
The fart horn?
Yeah, so no longer will you be able to fart at people.
That's funny.
I thought that the fart was just ingenious in itself, but the fact that it's being recalled is...
Anybody who hasn't ridden in a Tesla, let me tell you something. First of all, previously, I guess, to this recall, you could make the horn be a goat, a fart, like all kinds of stuff, but also it has whoopee cushions, so you can do it in seats where people are sitting. You can play music as your horn. You can play music through the speakers. I mean, they're using technology in a different way, but it's interesting that they're getting in trouble for that.
Yeah, they're trying to not take themselves too seriously. I think it was a good move. I'm sad to see that the fart noise is going away, but
it's funny.
It's all right.
Okay, you want to talk about Super Bowl commercials?
I do. I
have my list.
There was a crop.
There was a crop.
Those commercials.
So a trend I kind of have noticed with the car commercials is it seems like car companies are having a little bit of a midlife crisis in the sense that companies that would have previously been all about performance in their commercials or the value of the vehicle now have gone away from that because Tesla's performance is so far out in front that they can't talk about the performance or show off the performance. Because, like, if you think about previously, like, if I told you how many BMW meetings I sat in and how many times my commercials would get rejected by BMW to get co-op, because they always want a car moving. If you look back, every BMW commercial, the car is moving, or even in a picture, it looks like it's moving.
That's funny.
So it looks like the photographer at the last minute went like this. Like they jerk the camera like it's moving. But that was their thing because it's all about performance. Now with the introduction of electric vehicles and performance not being the thing, they're all over the place. So that was one of the Super Bowl commercials, was the BMW with Arnold Schwarzenegger where he's Zeus.
Yeah, and Salma Hayek.
Yeah, and Salma Hayek is his, I don't know, queen, whatever that story is. But, what?
Goddess. He was Zeus.
Yeah. Who gives up being Zeus to move to Palm Springs.
Lord only knows Zeus wants to live in Palm Springs.
And then somehow his life is saved by an electric BMW and, whatever. It's a terrible commercial.
It's pretty rough.
Yeah, pretty rough. The other one that I thought was terrible is the Toyota one. So Same thing, like Toyota, in essence, if you understand marketing and psychology at a deep level, like I do, what is it Toyota selling?
Reliability would be what I would think.
So reliability can be communicated in a few ways, but it's value.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Fair.
It's value. And reliability is a part of that value.
Okay.
So that's this commercial, Start Your Impossible, is 90 seconds. So it's a longer Super Bowl commercial of a story about two brothers, and one is going blind or is blind.
He went blind.
And they, I don't know, they're fast skiers or something. They do like cross-country skiing together.
Yeah, it looked like that.
As a tandem. At no point during the commercial do you know it's a Toyota commercial.
I had no clue until we talked about it.
At the very end, they say, Start Your Impossible, and then Toyota comes up for a second, the logo. Talk about a midlife crisis. It has nothing to do with cars. And if you're trying to be Apple Toyota, and you're trying to sell lifestyle, so in an iPhone commercial, Apple is going to have people taking pictures of memories, weddings, experiences, surfing, all these crazy things. But in the commercial, the whole time is an iPhone.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to remember that that's a Toyota commercial because it makes no sense that two guys doing cross-country skiing have anything to do with the Toyota. It's not like the Toyota got them there. It's not like they were late for a championship cross-country race and the Toyota got them there through the snow. The Toyota has nothing to do with their story.
That's right.
You're lighting money on fire. I don't think anybody connected with that whatsoever.
No.
I mean, it is funny that when we brought it up, you're like, oh, that's right, that was a Toyota commercial. You remembered the story, but you didn't remember that it was Toyota. The Nissan, Eugene Levy.
I thought that was great.
You did?
I did.
So Eugene Levy has a show called Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek. Yep.
Schitt's Creek. What's funny about that, so it's the Nissan Z.
Yep.
And they're, doing all kinds of action stuff in it eventually. Another kind of longer commercial. What's funny in these car commercials is a lot of them are filmed right here, 200 yards from this office, right? Literally on Sundays, Figueroa, right down the street, will be closed off and they will be filming car commercials. But what most people don't know is the car usually isn't in the filming. They're filming this kind of robot-looking thing that then they digitally put the car on. And one of the cuts in that Nissan commercial is a bridge that hasn't been here for 4 years, I think, that's torn down, the 4th Street Bridge that's in all kinds of commercials and TV shows and movies. It's a famous LA landmark that is filmed on. They are imposing the car on a robot from footage that is old. It's impossible that new Z was filmed on that bridge because that bridge hasn't been there. That's the magic of Hollywood.
I love it.
And then, a lot of scenes from right here.
Yeah,
right
it was definitely it was a local commercial.
The Robo Dog, Kia.
What'd you think of that one?
I mean, anything with dogs. You know what I would love about a Robo Dog, bro? If it was close to a dog.
That it doesn't have to poop?
No, that's not it.
Okay. That it doesn't drool?
No.
No hair?
No.
Good Lord.
It doesn't die.
Oh, yeah.
Dogs don't live long enough. They don't live as long as they should. My Lola is getting old, and I look at her sometimes, and it's oh, mama. Yeah. It makes me so sad. I think that when I get every time you get a dog and then you lose a dog, you're I'm never getting a dog again.
Yeah, you need a break for sure.
You get a dog because, you got to have a dog, but... Yeah, the Robo Dog would be around. You would just update the software. You could get new armor, whatever.
Yeah,
It'd
new
be
armor,
around forever.
Color it. But that was one of many electric car commercials.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote down there.
But the Robo Dog, in a sense, the car was in the commercial. I thought that was it's interesting to me that Kia seems to be advancing pretty fast. They seem to be gaining market share, and their marketing kind of has a confidence about it where it's like, hey, we got design, we got value. You know, they're hitting all the spots, right?
Yeah.
Where it seems like Toyota is they're searching for something in a sense. Do you get that vibe?
Maybe a little bit definitely from the Super Bowl commercials, but just in general, I think Kia is on the design come up.
Yeah.
They changed their logo. There's a lot of things I think they've done. That new electric vehicle definitely looks more modern and has that edginess to it that Toyota doesn't have right now.
But the best Super Bowl commercial by far, and it's funny that it was lost on a lot of the younger kids here. They didn't understand it, was the Sopranos Chevy Silverado commercial. When I saw that commercial, I was like, oh, this is next level. Like, that is genius. Because it makes you think like, hey, the Sopranos might be coming back. Because they took the intro, if you didn't see it, they took the intro of the Sopranos that where they're going through the Jersey Turnpike, and it's like, woke up this morning, got
great.
myself a gun. But it's not Tony driving, it's Meadow, his daughter.
Who's much better looking than Tony.
Oh, yeah. And so, like, you think, like, if you brought back the Sopranos, that would be a genius storyline that she was now the boss.
Yeah.
Like, she was having people, knocked off and whatever. And then at the end, she plugs in the truck and then hugs her brother from the show. And, like, you could see a storyline where he's, like, number 2 and she's the one running the family. Yeah. How great would that be?
So cool. I will agree with you, though. I was so amazed that, like, I thought everybody knew who the Sopranos were. And, like, it made my blood pressure went up a little bit, and I was like, oh yeah, and your head starts to bob. That'd be a cool reunion show.
That'd be fun. Okay, that's it for the news. So, how do we stop being average? You have no clue what I'm going to say, do you?
I don't. This kind of makes it fun. I've got my own idea, but I want to see what you say first.
Christian and I have not talked about this. Also, this is kind of a prerequisite a little bit to what I'm going to talk about on our upcoming coaching meeting. So we have our quarterly coaching meeting where we've been doing them virtually during COVID. And this is one of the virtual ones that we have coming up next week. Is it next week?
It is next week.
And I'm going to talk about something sort of similar, but it's about, it's more about performance and, basically how to hijack performance at a high level. But the first part of this is you have to understand how average works and how you get away from that. So the first thing that you want to do if you want to stop being average is stop measuring yourself against everybody else and start measuring yourself against your full potential. So stop looking at what everybody else is doing and start looking at what is your full potential. Now, that's a scary thing because there's Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And maybe we don't all have the IQ of Elon Musk, but if you look at your full potential, there's a pretty big gap between where you are right now and where you could be. Now, why do we compare ourselves against everybody else instead of our full potential? Because it's easier.
Yeah, and we can pick the audience for sure, right? Like, well, I'm better than that guy.
Oh, yeah. Like, most of the time when people are referencing other people's performance, they're going to reference somebody that is, going to make them feel like they're okay. So maybe they're doing a little better than them. But if most of the time what you hear, especially in our industry, and you guys are going to laugh when I say this, is that if somebody is outperforming us and we compare ourselves to them, we then follow it up by it's their market, they're lucky in some way, the numbers aren't true, whatever it is. This happens in 20 groups all the time where people are like, oh, but it's the Liars Club. And I always say, well, even if it's the Liars Club, why don't we pretend that it's real so it gives us something to shoot at? Why don't we just pretend that it's real. Whether it is the Liars Club or not, why do we need to make ourselves feel better?
Yeah, I think the true Liars Club, I was hoping that was where you were headed with this. So thinking about that, that half of people are below average. How many people in that half identify that they're below average?
None of them.
They are in complete denial. So the Liars Club is that people aren't honest with themselves about where they stand.
No, because it's a protection mechanism. Like if you're not super motivated and you don't want to attack that gap between what your full potential is and where you are right now, the easiest way to keep yourself from committing suicide is
to lie about it.
Create a narrative where everything's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just human nature, because otherwise the world is too brutal and it's too depressing, and we would be very down on ourselves to a detrimental level, like not good.
Yeah.
But when you look at full potential and you look at it as a game and it's fun, and you kind of you're comparing yourself to yourself and not to others, and you stop paying attention to what others are doing, that can be really, really inspiring.
Yeah, if you get past the scary part.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of fun to think about, right? I mean, it is. Okay, so what do you think about that? Does that resonate with you? Like, stop comparing to others and start comparing yourself to your full potential.
So the only question I have for you is, so if you're someone that's saying, okay, I'm buying what Chris is saying, I'm interested in this journey, how would you identify what your full potential is?
Well, it should be in reference to where you're at today. So if you're a service advisor, is your full potential to be the best service advisor in that drive?
So I don't think so personally. I would say that it should be the best in the brand or the best in the country.
Well, just come along with me for a second, because I was going to get to that.
Okay.
But if we have a service drive, and let's say there's 5 advisors, only one of them is top.
That's right. So you have to
more than half of them are average or below.
Right.
So let's assume that some of the people listening to this aren't top in their service drive, right? And so could you just, think, well, the full potential is I could be number 1 in my drive.
Right.
Okay.
That's funny to think about. So only 2 in the whole drive are above average.
Yeah.
3
now,
are at
is
or below.
full potential, could you be number 1 in our comp? If you're in our system and you know our advisor comp and the awards we give out every month and all that, could you be number 1 in that? Is that your full potential?
Could be.
Could your full potential just be pay if you're a commission? If you're a tech and you're flat rate, could your full potential be to run at 150%? Yeah. And so now, what happens in your mind if you're running at 90% and you say, well, my full potential is 150%. Now, what excuses are going to come into your mind, especially valid ones, like the parts department?
Parts department.
Service advisor.
I only get the warranty tickets. The service
Dispatch.
advisors never call.
Right.
They can't sell anything. I never get the good work. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we just turn the car around and we're headed back to below average.
That's right.
Right. And so you have to work through those things. Now maybe you need to go work somewhere else. Maybe you need a new shop to work in. But whatever it is. But your full potential is different than what you're doing right now. For sure. Everybody listening to this, your full potential is different than what you're doing right now. So I think to answer your question, it's individual, and you can start small and have some wins, gain some confidence, right? A big part of why people don't do this is self-esteem.
They can't admit to themselves.
If you start small and you get some wins, then your self-esteem starts to come up. You feel good, that's contagious, and then you start to think bigger. So let's not wake up tomorrow and say, hey, we're gonna be Elon Musk and we're gonna go to Mars.
Yeah.
But could we be the best where we are? Could we be the best in the market? Could we make more money? Could we collect more customers? Whatever it is, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it. Like, if you're above average, you make money. If you're below average, you make excuses.
Number 2, thing that is keeping you average. And this one is funny and not funny, that's something you'd understand.
Very much so.
Most of what you do is average all day. You drink average coffee with average processed fast food, driving an average car, wearing the average polo you got for free at the Top Dog event.
Those are nice polos.
Right? You show up with average energy. Your health is average. And so if you want to live up to your full potential, you have to understand that the hobbies you have, the clothes you wear, the coffee you drink, the food you eat, all of that is contributing to how you feel about yourself. And if everything is average, you'll be average. So you might want to get yourself maybe a little pour over coffee and treat yourself in the morning and make yourself feel above average. You might want to, buy a jacket or buy a pair of shoes or something that you feel good wearing that is above average, that you get a compliment on every once in a while, right? Why don't you buy a car that's a little better than what you would normally do, but isn't average? So every time you drive to work, you're in the frame of I'm above average. But you gotta kind of tell your subconscious and prove to your subconscious that you're looking for things that are above average and you're not settling all day in the meals you eat, the clothes you wear, the friends you have, your hobbies, whatever it is. Like you have to prove to yourself that you're better than that in order for your subconscious to believe that you're serious about it. So it blows me away when you see people that are average or below average, that they don't work out, they don't treat themselves like anybody that's special. You can tell the conversations they have with themselves in their head is that they don't even really, they're going through the motions, but they don't really like themselves. They don't care. Like, they would treat us better than they would treat themselves.
Not even a comparison on that, for sure. I would say a lot of what we do with coaching is about helping people to see a better version of themselves.
Yeah, when people say, I'll give the shirt off of my back, that's not always a good thing. Sometimes you need to think about, well, when I give myself the shirt off of my own back, sometimes you need to start with yourself in that sense. And I'm not saying that in a, hey, you should be selfish and you shouldn't care about other people, but you will contribute more to your customers, to your business, to everything if you feel better about yourself, if you're more positive, if you're healthy, if you have energy. And the truth of the matter is if you're eating better, if you're treating yourself better, you're going to have more energy, you're going to have a better quality of life, you're going to make more money, you're going to have more friends. It's a simple recipe, but we all want to go to a Tony Robbins event for 5 days and go through some walking on coals and all that. But the truth of the matter is you can just start treating yourself a little bit better inch by inch, and it'll happen naturally because it'll raise your self-esteem and it'll raise your vision of yourself, right?
Well said.
So those are the two. Stop comparing yourself to others and start comparing yourself to your full potential. And then the second one is stop doing average stuff. Stop eating average food. Go treat yourself once a week to an amazing meal that inspires you, that was made by somebody who wanted you to have an experience when they made it. Like, they're like, I'm making this so the person that eats this feels something, not just eating to eat and go through the motions, right? Go look at, art or listen to music. Go buy yourself a stereo that plays music that sounds better than just an average Bluetooth speaker. Like, up your level of what you expect for yourself, because those things kind of feed your soul. Like, it makes you think that you're worth more by doing that, by hijacking that. Good? So remember, if you're on a crashing plane, like the plane's going down, you have to put on your mask before you help anybody else. So it doesn't mean that you're selfish. It means that you're better at serving others if you're healthy and you're taken care of. So think about that. So let's just recap the two. The first one is Stop comparing yourself to others because everybody else is average in some way, and start comparing yourself to your full potential. And inch by inch, start to shoot for your full potential, gain confidence, manufacture wins for yourself, and start thinking above average. Like, it'll happen automatic. The second one is stop doing average stuff. Stop eating average food. Stop, average coffee, average clothes, average car, and treat yourself. Once a week, go somewhere and have a meal where the person making that meal had an intention for you to have an experience. Like, there's some passion behind that meal that you're eating. Go listen to music that is created by somebody who has spent their life, in the endeavor of having an effect on you when you hear the music, right? Go get a stereo that's better than a Bluetooth speaker and enjoy music that's a little bit better. Art, food, coffee, like everything. All of that will feed your soul, but it will tell your subconscious that we deserve more. We think more of ourselves, and it'll have a compounding effect. So yeah, that's my my wish for you, is to think a little bit higher. Let's raise your self-esteem. And at the end of the day, that's going to make you have more fun, and you're going to be irreplaceable in the marketplace. You'll be the most desired leader, the most desired advisor, tech, whatever it is, because people will just sense there's something different about you because you're treating yourself different. So start with you and then build from there. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time on
Service Drive Revolution!
That was good. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Service Job Revolution. We're uploading new stuff every day, so make sure you subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss out. If you have a question you'd like us to answer on the show, call 8333-ASK-SDR and we'll answer your question on the show. That's 8333-ASK-SDR. For special deals on our books and training, head over to offers.chriscollinsinc.com. Now that's offers.chriscollinsinc.com. I'm Chris Collins, and I'll see you in the next video.